Hello to all of you dear friends. I hope you are all well. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to channel, Freedom in Humanity. This video is the 6th part of the theme of remembering God. Please stay with us until the end of this video. I thank you all. Every human being has a desire and a goal in his personal and social life that he strives to achieve. In his individual and social efforts, man needs motivation to motivate him and force him to move towards the desired and the goal, and he needs a restraining force to remove the obstacles to achieving the desired. Therefore, human beings whose purpose in life is to provide material needs, his motivation is to gain profit and his deterrent is to repel loss, that is, whatever is more beneficial to him and brings him more profit, he welcomes it, and whatever which causes harm is elusive. Man, with the faith that strives for divine encounter, salvation, needs two forces of empowerment, motivation, and maintenance. What moves man is the remembrance of God and his attributes of glory and beauty and his infinite blessings, and what prevents obstacles such as self-sight and aggression is the remembrance of God. God says to human beings, "O you who believe in God, remember God much, and worship him morning and evening, and remember him purely." A person who remembers God both performs his duties properly in order to reach God and avoid sin and disobedience. Because remembering God means paying attention to the source of spiritual power and the cause of happiness and perfection. Since the factors of negligence in the abundant material lives and the arrows of the temptations of the devils from all sides target the real life of man, it will be effective to fight against it except to remember God and to remember God with all one's being. Tip: remember God abundantly and constantly, and this means that the remembrance of God should radiate and shine on all human deeds, and in all scenes of life there will be a proper divine motive with the remembrance of God for worship and obedience. When God is mentioned, a world of greatness, power, knowledge, and wisdom is manifested in the human heart. Because God Almighty has good names and good attributes and possesses all perfections and purity from any defect. Constant attention to such a truth, which has such attributes, leads the human soul to goodness and purity, and adorns it with evils and ugliness, and in fact manifests the attributes of divine beauty in man. And the person in whom the attributes of divine beauty are manifested avoids sin, corruption, and pollution. The secret of the remembrance of God. The devil attacks man in negligence, and if someone remembers God, he will not fall into the trap of the devil. Remembering God is to strengthen the spirit of angels in man. Because angels are constantly in the remembrance of God and never get tired or depressed. So man who wants to become an angel is always in remembrance of God. God says about angels, "The angels worship God day and night and do not give up." In the above mentioned multiplicity, both quantity and quality must be taken into account, because God mentions the memory without sincerity and the presence of the heart as a small memory. Tip: know that the hypocrites have little remembrance of God, because their remembrance is without soul and tongue, and in fact the remembrance of many means remembrance with the soul and with purity, which is the protector of man. A wise man says, God Almighty has made his memory a source of radiance for hearts, as a result of which the ear can be heard after heaviness and the eye can see after shortness of breath, and return from obedience and stubbornness to obedience and submission and be tamed. When man counts the name of God in greatness and counts the attributes of his beauty and glory from his knowledge, power, hearing, sight, position of mercy, compassion, and care for his servants, and the veils of negligence before his eyes, he steps aside and sees the truth well. The tumult of the air and lust subsides and he hears the call of the claimants of truth and achieves complete submission to the command of God Almighty. Meaning of learning. Remembering literally means remembering and paying attention, whether it is with the tongue, or with the heart, or with action. Remember the truth. Man's heartfelt and inward attention is to the sanctuary of God. In fact, the remembrance of God is a state of spiritual theism and inward attention to the God of the world in such a way that man considers God to be present and watching over him in the presence of the Lord of the world. Such is the remembrance of God. He acts according to God's commands, performs his duties and leaves the forbidden. The wise man says, do not remember God Almighty by mistake and negligence and do not forget him. Remember God completely so that your heart and tongue are together and your heart and soul are in harmony. You do not remember God in truth except if you are remembering. You forget yourself and do not find yourself doing something. Tip: whoever loves something remembers him a lot, and whoever remembers something a lot, even if it is hard and difficult, will love it. Conclusion: the remembrance of God both motivates man to perfection and prevents man from falling and perishing, and this remembrance means both the remembrance of the tongue and the heart. To remember him and to remember the important works, i.e. adherence to obedience to God, insight, inner insight, peace of heart and soul, and God Almighty, to remember being human, self-discovery, and finally to the obstacles of remembrance and ways to remove it. It was mentioned. Please say the following sentences to yourself. Valuable sentences. Whatever wants to happen, let it happen. The important thing is that I maintain my happiness. I do not do anything that upsets others. Thank you dear friends for watching this video. Please support me by subscribing, liking, activating notifications for future videos, your comments, and introducing this channel to your friends. Be happy in any case. Freedom in humanity.